all right. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to the Ravit Show. I have a very special guest today with me. It's none other than Fadi Azhari, who's the VP at StarRocks. I can't wait to discuss about the challenges in real-time analytics, data-driven culture, and much more with Fadi. I know for a fact Fadi can bring a lot of insights around analytics. I also know that StarRocks is doing a lot of stuff in the real-time analytics. So definitely would want to cover that ground as well. What's happening in the StarRocks world, but feel free to ask questions if you guys have any. I know for a fact we're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So any questions for Fadi, feel free to bring them in. Also, we have a very cool giveaway that we are doing, and I've been announcing it since a while now. It's two airports that we are giving away, and StarRocks has been kind enough to give away two airports to the lucky winners. You just need to do is register in the link that you can see in the description, and also since you are here, it will be easier for us to identify who have participated. And what you need to do is type in hashtag StarRocks in the chat to enter the raffle, and also ask questions to Fadi so we can bring that to him. And yeah, I'm super excited to have Fadi today on the Ravit Show. So let's do it, and let me know if you guys are entering the raffle. I can see Aditi already entering the raffle. So to win the airpods, go for it, guys. And without any further ado, let's have Fadi here. Hey, Fadi, it's such a pleasure to have you on the Ravit Show.
It is my pleasure, Ravi. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me to the show today.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I am super excited because I know for a fact I've been seeing StarRock since a while now, and I was kind of curious to learn more about the real-time analytics. How's the analytics space evolving? How is StarRocks obviously, looking at this space, and who could be better than you who could tell us more about it? But so a lot of things that we'll be discussing around, and I was just letting the audience know that they can ask questions around analytics, around data driven culture, and anything around StarRocks as well. So feel free to do that. Fadi is happy to take all the questions. And Fadi, one could, obviously we'll get into all the stuff, but why not start with your introduction?
Oh, thank you, Ravi. Thanks for tuning in. And welcome, everybody. Good to be on the show. So I'm Fadi Azhari. I'm the VP of Marketing for StarRocks. I recently joined StarRocks, and I lead marketing across the board. Basically awareness, demand gen, building really the brand for the company, particularly as we go global as an organization. And just a quick thing about myself prior to StarRocks, my background is in database as well as AI and the entire enterprise stack. Worked for a number of startups where I built marketing for them and built their brand awareness and category definition of some disruptive technologies that you probably have heard of. Joined prior to joining StarRocks, I was at PingCap, where I led marketing for them, and at AWS and another startup in the AI space, building that knowledge as well and marketing for them. Just happy to be and delighted to be here today.
This is fantastic, Fadi. I know for a fact you've like had years of experience into the data world, and I know that you've been to places, you've been to different companies in different cultures, and that's one of the reasons why I also wanted to talk about the data driven culture. But not limiting to that, obviously, a big thing around today is analytics, and you've seen that happening since years, how it has transformed. So how did you see analytics evolving over the last few years? I wouldn't go to 10 years or maybe
Right.
15, but maybe just a few years. How have you seen it evolving, and what do you see? How do you look at it?
Sure. So I think what really has changed significantly is the advent of the digital transformation for the
Mm-hmm.
enterprise. Everybody talks about growing their business and bringing more services online, adding new services or improving their services online for their end users. And with that digital transformation, it has really put a big strain on analyzing your data. So this is because
Mhm.
analyzing your data is key to actually understanding how your service is being consumed, how you can improve it, how you can even improve your operation to support those services. So
Right.
it has become increasingly critical to drive data driven to make data driven decisions for both
Right.
operational and for new services. So it's really the connection of two things: how you can improve the operation with analytics inside your organization, and how you connect the dots to deliver new services. And the democratization of analytics has happened because of that. Because of that pressure point, organizations are looking to, when I say democratization, they're looking to simplify and accelerate the access of data across the organization, and making sure that the data they look at and the insights they derive from the platform is common across the board. And so people understand each other. And in order to do that in the organization, they need to remove complexity and remove friction, so to speak, inside the organization, so that they can achieve that time to insight, right?
Right.
And to grow their business.
Okay, this is I think you've summed it up very well in terms of how things have, changed over a last few years, and that's so true. Like all the points that you've mentioned are fantastic. Also, that I'm kind of curious when you say things, the things that you've mentioned. I know that people now have started talking a lot around real time analytics,
Mhm.
and how is it being used? So what's your take on that, Fadi?
Yeah, I mean, real-time analytics really started with the fact as you deliver services at the edge of your network,
Mhm.
whatever services you're delivering as an enterprise. Real-time analytics really is about allowing these enterprises to not
Right.
just get the insight, but get it fast and frequently enough. Because if you have changing business needs, you need to operate and grow your business fast. You need to understand quickly your analytics. Hence, real time is very important. So that's as simple as that. So that you can actually, if you have real time analytics, then you can do real time and fast insight from the data. So you can take action inside your organization.
Okay, that's a great point that you've made. Before I jump on to another question that I have, we have a few folks joining us. There's obviously StarRocks, hashtag StarRocks everywhere. So those who are joining us late, just a quick heads up that we are StarRocks is giving away two airpods to lucky winners. We'll be announcing the winners towards the July 10th. So feel free to type in hashtag StarRocks in the chat to enter the raffle, and we'll pick a winner. A few more folks that have joined us. Dustin is here. Hey Dustin, very nice to see you. We have Christine from UK joining us, also Tyler. Hey Tyler. So very nice to see everyone here, and those who have registered as well. Thank you very much. So we I see a question coming here from Aditi, and definitely we'll be jumping on the data driven culture as well very soon. We'll pick that topic, but since we are on this topic, obviously, about the real time analytics. So my question to you, Fadi, is when should a company start considering using real time analytics? Like, is there a specific right time, or how does that equation kind of works?
Well, in my view, obviously, because I've talked to so many enterprises that are at the
Mhm.
forefront of growing their business, I would say right now, like don't even waste time, because you may have some data that you've been looking
Right.
at that's historical, but if you don't have real time analytics and real time data, you're missing the opportunity to actually compete effectively in your
Right.
own market space. So, in adding those new services. And frankly, digital transformation has been in the making for the last few years. Now, some of us have been more closely involved with it than others, and you need to get frankly, on the bandwagon to look at it and understand how real-time analytics can help you transform your business and grow it, right? So, and organizations that don't do that, frankly, will lose the opportunity to have a competitive edge. So, I would say really right away.
Okay, that's fantastic. What I've, obviously heard from the folks who are actually getting into the real time analytics is, the technical challenges that they see.
Yeah,
And that could, like, there are many technical challenges. But Fadi, if you have to put it in a, say, in a nutshell, so what are the technical challenges of real time analytics here?
sure. So, frankly, it's actually the complexity of different solutions. There are a lot of solutions out there that claim to be getting to
Mhm.
real-time analytics or have real-time analytics, but the issue is not so much whether you have the product. Do you have the right product to support it, right? So, do you have real-time access? And we're talking about instant, sub-second or in seconds. And
Right.
are you able to support the concurrency that you need in your organization across the board of so many users to be able to do that? So there's different schemas out there of different solutions. Frankly, a lot of it has to do with historical evolution of analytics. So people have done things that I'm going to get down a little bit technical here, to do, should I do normalizing, denormalizing of tables? Frankly, the most important part is to take a holistic approach and say, okay, what are we trying to do with our data? And sort of map that out and figure out how actually, frankly, not just your existing business workloads, the BI workloads, where you're headed. So those technical challenges are putting pressure on the analytics platform to become simple to use, be able to really deliver on the real-time promise, and be able to support so many concurrent users so that they can scale their business. So these are the bigger Uber things they need to do. And real time means being able to support fast, access, but also the ability to, if the data changes, that you're able to do your analytics quickly, right, on the changing data. So those are the challenges that people are facing today.
Okay, those are interesting challenges that you've mentioned. Also, we had a similar question from Dustin. Thanks for that question, Dustin. So Dustin is mentioning, Fadi Azhari, sometimes when I would make reference to real-time analytics as a front-end analytics leader, my friends in IT on the back end of the things could get uncomfortable with that talking point. Why do you think that is? Do you want to add anything more? Any
Yeah, I
few?
think
Yeah.
sure, absolutely. That's an excellent question, and I'm not surprised by it. I think part of it is uh, there has been a lot of solutions out there, but frankly, none of them have delivered on the premise of real time, as I alluded to, which is very
Mhm.
much in line with the question we just addressed, because folks don't have an organization. When your IT team had looked at potential solutions, they didn't have a simple solution, easy to use, that does the scaling that you need for many concurrent users, and be able to support the premise of sub-second or second latency. So they get uncomfortable with it because it's sort of a big stringent request they may not have been able to support today. But luckily, there are some players like us that can hopefully help them. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough, and I like the way how you've answered that. And nice, definitely a great question there, Dustin. So thanks for that.
Mhm.
I also want to pick this interesting question from Kate Strachny. Hey, Kate, very nice to see you here. So Kate is asking which industries benefit most from the access to real-time analytics.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. Frankly, industries, first of all, I'll put a qualifier. The industries that before I list the industries, these are industries that are looking at to add new services quickly at the edge. When I say at the
Mm-hmm.
edge, with my infrastructure background, means you're delivering some set of services that are either e-commerce or banking or fraud detection, things that are really trying to do at the edge very quickly and quickly derive value from it. So those tend to be the kinds of industries. So as I mentioned, e-commerce is one, finance, fraud detection, things that are really at the forefront of it. And also, frankly, it's industries that are adopting AI in their enterprise. they're applying AI to their business intelligence platform because they think they can have predictive nature of it, a predictive aspect of it. So
Right.
those are the types of industries that benefit the most.
Okay. Fair enough. Thanks for that question, Kate. Also, that brings me to another question around the real-time analytics itself. So, why is real-time analytics so difficult? Like, wha- when we talk about these challenges, these technical difficulties, w-
Mhm.
and do we have an understanding where we can make it easier, or how does that work, Fadi?
Yeah, definitely. So one thing is, as I mentioned earlier, is there's two
Yeah.
components to the getting real-time analytics right. First is you want to make sure your data is fresh, and
Hmm.
second, that it's responsive. You can get your query fast. So achieving both, each has its own technical challenge, but combined together, is sometimes the solution is not ideal. You have to look at the entire problem to solve it together as a an engineering problem, right? You're looking at how you build a platform to do that. That's one thing. The second part, so it's difficult for obviously for the user. If you have data freshness but you don't have responsiveness, then you're not achieving an optimal solution. The other part is, as a user of a database, it's really difficult to build data pipelines for real-time analytics with denormalized tables, right? Because
Hmm.
today the schema has been, let's go do denormalized tables so we can address it. The reason is, you do that, you build a flat table, and then when you make changing of data, it makes it very difficult to do it quickly. So you're having that makes it very difficult to achieve real-time analytics. And the third component is achieving that high concurrency that you want, because
Hmm.
you have multiple users in your organization. So how do you have a platform that actually allows you to have thousands of users access it, not hundreds, thousands? Because remember, you're democratizing the data so everybody across the organization can use it. So
Yeah.
that's the third component. And obviously the AI scenarios that build in on predictive analytics make it even
True.
more complex, right? So those are
Hmm.
the four top things.
Okay, fantastic. I know for a fact I've looked at StarRocks very closely, and I love the tagline that you guys use is real time analytics made easy, and that's why I had so many questions around it. But I know for a fact you've also put something for us in terms of showing how StarRocks is actually addressing the challenges of real time analytics, and we would love to definitely have a look at it, Fadi, if, and
Mhm.
learn more about and get into the framework of StarRocks and how it's solving and making it easier for us. So I can bring this up in
Yeah.
yeah, you can tell us more about it.
Oh, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
so there are four buckets, so to speak, similar to the four buckets of challenges I mentioned earlier. One is data freshness and responsiveness has to be very good. So we achieve actually blazing fast queries. We talk about sub-seconds, and we do that query very quickly. We support frankly flat tables or multi-table joins, but and we can query billions of rows at the same time. So it's the scalability on not only how you can achieve blazing fast queries, but at very large scale. And organizations that are doing digital transformation are keen on that. So it's not a small working set, but a larger working set. That's number one. Number
Hmm.
two, we talked about the not just the queries, but the insight itself. So we have second level data freshness. We are able to also ingest at a high speed the data and make real time updates and deletes. That's a very critical component because data is ever changing all the time. So to the real meaning of real time is to be able to support even when you're making changes and updates to the data quickly. So that's the second component of why we make it so easy and consumable and usable, frankly. Number three, it's the concurrency. So we support thousands of concurrent users, and up to 10,000 QPS queries per second. That's very large scale. So we're talking about, some of the other players in the market maybe have tens to hundreds maybe of concurrent users. We're talking about thousands of users, right? So that's another component. And then frankly, the simplicity of the operation. So we reduce the complexity of the data pipeline in our elegant design, and we can really achieve linear scalability. So as you scale and add your data, we're able to do that because we have adopted a specific architecture, underlying architecture that allows us to scale on your on the compute and storage infrastructure to allow us to scale beautifully right there. And then finally, when you do that simple operation, you can actually reduce your total cost of ownership. So that speaks to the IT department.
Mm.
So those are the
Okay.
key capabilities for StarRocks.
Okay, that's pretty cool, and thanks for sharing these key capabilities. It kind of obviously brings us closer and gives us more understanding how it works. So thanks for that, Fadi. Obviously, one thing that I wanted to share with our audience is I'll be sharing the StarRocks website. They can learn more about it. Also take a trial, and there are a few amazing articles there as well. So feel free to just check in, and what I can do is share with them in the chat. But also we have one very interesting question from Dustin and from Christine, and they both have a similar question where they are asking about what are the common use cases for real-time analytics. And that's what I guess Dustin is also asking, do you have an example you would be willing to share of an impactful, interesting use case for real-time analytics?
Yeah, I mean, one of them that comes to mind is fraud detection. So, think of an organization that has a cloud native organization that is supporting services online, and they want to make sure they have fraud detection at the edge. So, real time analytics obviously is a perfect use case because you're trying to analyze the data very quickly, predict what might happen, what has happened,
Mm-hmm.
and what might happen quickly, and then act upon it. So, that's a very illustrative case where you could use real-time analytics quickly. And frankly, fraud detection doesn't only apply to this particular case. It could be an e-commerce application, but that's a typical use case that you would adopt and have. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Thanks for those insights, Fadi. Very helpful, and thanks for that question, Christina and Dustin. Uh, so what my I've learned a lot around the real-time analytics, about the key capabilities, but can you tell us more about StarRocks? What's next for StarRocks? What are you guys focusing on? And
Yeah.
how does it all work in such a fast-paced, evolving tech world? How are you kind of fitting in what's like the next big thing for StarRocks? Would love to know more.
Sure, sure. So, StarRocks was founded in 2020. So we're a
Hmm.
fairly young company, but we had a
Yeah.
big vision. Yeah, we really had a big vision on how we want to change the world of real-time analytics. And frankly, we embarked on a very big, bold vision, given the challenges that we talked about today, right? So we understood that customers are having a hard time really extracting data quickly to drive their business and be able to do that in a massive scale, right? And so not only act on data, not only on the query side, but sort of the analytics side. So when we started the company, we looked at it in more holistic fashion, and we wanted to design an architecture that is very simple and elegant to use, but at the same time addresses the problem at its core. So everything you see in the innovations, and I invite you to look at our website and dig into more details about what's powering, what's the rocket science behind StarRocks, and there's a lot that actually supports this vision that we had. And
Hmm.
our vision is that business intelligence is the first frontier for using, frankly, real-time analytics, but AI applications that are more and more infiltrating themselves into the business intelligence are going to become more prevalent, and hence will put more pressure on delivering a real-time analytics platform that's really built in from the grounds up for that. And we think we are it. That is it. We think we are the real-time analytics that will really drive enterprises to grow their businesses for a long time to go. So that's our vision of what we do.
Yeah, and I think definitely a great vision where you talk about the enterprise world, and then obviously you're talking about the AI kind of connecting very well. I think it's way to go for StarRocks. So can't wait to see obviously what's next for StarRocks, how you guys ramp up the game. But I know for a fact there are a lot of audience waiting for this topic, and I obviously want to shift gears a bit here and talk about the data-driven culture. So
Mhm.
Fadi, to start with, we've heard a lot about being data driven and being an ideal data driven organization, and I know there were a few questions around that as well. So
Mhm.
what according to you is an ideal data driven organization, and how
Mhm.
does it what is data driven culture actually? Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, that definitely. Thanks for the question. That's a great question, and actually, it goes to the heart of some of the earlier questions in the show today. But
Yeah.
one thing an organization has to realize that data is the common language of the enterprise. That is their sort of uh, they should and I think many organizations, enlightened organizations, realize that because the IT world, the users, the database engineers all speak the same language on data. But where
Mm-hmm.
you want to start is really with your business imperatives. That involves the executives in the organization and the CIO to understand, what are your imperatives for operational growth and services growth, right? Because that supports multiple layers of interconnectivity inside the organization, so that actually the data becoming the big common language becomes something that's accepted by everybody, right? So mapping out sort of what are the business imperatives and what does it mean from a data infrastructure perspective. How do you then go and build the right data infrastructure to do this, to optimize your growth and scale, and think about
Right.
not just what you have today, but what you
Mm-hmm.
think you might be developing in terms of services with specific workloads that you might have, and then pick the right provider that can take you there. That's how I would do
Exactly.
it.
Okay. And you know that I have a connecting question which would be more around the lines, why is becoming data driven still so difficult for companies if they're kind of aligned to a lot of things? Obviously there are CDOs, there are other data leaders who kind of push the ground to make sure that the company is kind of coming together, everyone's kind of. I know there's a completely new thing that we talk about, which is data literacy, and
Mhm.
which is important as well. But my question, obviously, I'll stick to a question which is more aligned towards what you just spoke about. It's around the companies being data driven. How does it help them ideally? But why is it still so difficult for companies to be data driven? Any thoughts around that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think because frankly, organizations are still siloed. Uh,
Hmm.
Part of it is a siloed in the sense of over time, infrastructures have been built based on specific departmental needs. So different
Okay.
organizations, particularly larger organizations, have specific needs. They either built their own, went on the cloud and consumed the service, or they went with it to their IT teams and worked with them to do that. But
Hmm.
the problem is that when you do this, you do not look at it from a holistic perspective. And
Right.
you get these resistance and frictions because you haven't looked at it per the question earlier, just prior to this one, that you really need to look at what you need to do holistically across the organization so that you
Okay.
remove those silos and start driving that sort of commonality of elements and implementation so that you bring everybody together. The good news is that data is the common language. Once everybody
Hmm.
understands this is the infrastructure that supports it, then you have a better time doing it. But you really got to step back and look at it from a fresh look, holistic perspective.
Okay, fair enough. And that that that's more or less what I wanted to learn more about data driven culture. I know real time analytics also kind of play a very important role when we talk about this, and you shared some fantastic examples there, some use cases, some great things that obviously StarRocks is doing, and the key concepts. I really like those key capabilities which you shared. So definitely a long way for StarRocks. But also one thing that I'm kind of curious to learn about is, in your opinion, what should we be keeping our eyes on in terms of the data and analytics trends? Is there something specific that you would advise, that this is something where you're seeing the uptrend, and in the next 2 to 3 years you will actually see this going to another level?
Yeah, I would say the one thing that's going to really drive those next generation workloads and needs is predictive analytics. So
Hmm.
real time for predictive, not real time for just the sake of real time. But are you looking in your business? Are you driving new data services that look at the data that's coming in and maybe do some prediction analytics on this? That's going to be a
Hmm.
big. It's AI driven, obviously, with AI solutions, but that's going to be a big trend. And I think the other trend, frankly, is the scale by which you can bring that simplicity of use. So the
Okay.
trend is going to be on democratizing it, so that actually not only the experts, data experts in the company, but the business user is going to be able to easily consume the data information. So those are, and there's somewhat conflicting trends in the sense that that one is very difficult to solve, the predictive nature, but the other one is
Right.
you need to deliver it in a simple way. And that's going to continue to be a great opportunity for companies to take advantage of if they have the right solution, right? So
Okay.
that's the big trend.
Okay, fantastic. Those are very interesting, and thanks for sharing that. We before obviously, I know for a fact we have covered a good ground here, but I want to take this one interesting question from Aditi Kinvasra,
Mhm.
and which is around StarRocks. Where do you think StarRocks fit in the modern data stack? Very interesting question, because we have seen so much, we've heard so much, and we've seen so many versions of modern data stack. So I'm I'm kind of curious, and does it fit into the modern data stack? Would love to know more about that, Fadi. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think the word modern data stack could be a little bit large, so I'll be a little
Mm.
bit more specific. So
Yeah.
where we fit, we're real time. We're delivering real time analytics to everyone. So basically, we are focused on real time analytics. That's what we do.
Right.
So that's where we fit. We're not trying to solve. We're not a Swiss Army knife for everything.
Yeah.
So we're very clear, which actually makes us it's a really a nice place to be, and frankly that's why I joined the company, because we have a clear positioning, we have a clear market and an advantage into that market,
Right.
and we feel that we want to help companies do one thing very well and get it right and fast, and that's real-time analytics. So it's a very clear positioning and where we are, and I think as long as we were able to help customers achieve that, then frankly, because real-time analytics is the most challenging part of the data stack, then we help companies lift them up to do everything they do better in their business. So that's how we position ourselves in terms of the data stack.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. Also, a few just one question that I had around was, if someone is interested, how can
Yep.
they get started with StarRocks? Like, I'm sure many of the folks who would want to, would be watching, they would want to learn more about it. So yeah.
Absolutely. There are a couple of things you could do. Check us out, and I'll share this with Ravit as well, and he can put it on the information after the show. You can obviously
Yeah.
go starrocks.com, and the best way to get started, you can obviously go to the community and get started by downloading the free software, so you could get engaged. You could
Okay.
also learn more by going on starrocks.com, because we have plenty of blogs and good technical information and assets that you can actually look at to understand what we do. We have multiple use cases, and I want to do mention one that we have is Airbnb, that you could,
Amazing.
yeah, clearly very good. it's a very good, you'll see it. It's a very good, use case we've been using with for this company that's powering actually their enterprise. So, but there are many. This is just one example. Frankly, you can look at use cases that we have across the board. We have over 100 customers that have been
Right.
using and battle tested the product to drive their digital transformation. So I'll invite you to look at. Um, so that's a great place to. We're also hiring across the board.
Nice.
Take
Wow.
a look at our career page. Yes, please, and do follow us on LinkedIn because we have a number of upcoming webinars that we're
Yeah.
hosting that are going to be on a number of topics, and would love to have everybody join and learn more and ask questions and engage with us.
Okay, this is a lot of things I know that StarRocks is doing, and what I've done is for all our audience to make it easier. I've shared the links in the comment section. I can already see Dustin, just surfing around the StarRocks in his other tab there. So, Dustin, let us know how StarRocks is, and also share some feedback with Fadi. He'll be super happy to hear
Please do.
more about, because he's always out there. He's happy to hear what the community thinks about real-time analytics. So feel free to reach out to Fadi. But that also brings me to another question, which is, Fadi, how can people reach out to you? How can people reach out to learn more? You've already mentioned the website and everything, but if they have to reach out to you, what's like the best place?
Of course. So they can certainly go to contact us button on our website, and
Okay.
we'll make sure to cover them correctly. Obviously, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn, on my profile, and happy to funnel your interest and request and clarification to anyone in our team to help you out.
Amazing, Fadi. This was very interesting, very insightful, and uh, definitely with the work that StarRocks is doing in the real-time analytics world, it's very important. We've seen that, and also this is exactly the thing. When I came across StarRocks, what I felt was this has me thinking a lot of use cases for real-time analytics, and that's what I was thinking around that as well, because there are companies doing this, but not a lot of companies doing it this well. So congratulations on that, Fadi, and can't wait to have a good discussion on a 2.0 session very soon with more folks, with you around StarRocks. All the very best, and thank you very much for sharing all the great insights today.
Thank you, Ravit, and thanks for everybody joining today. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone, joining us and asking questions. You guys can still register. We still have two AirPods that we're giving away towards till the 10th of July. And you can register and let us know what you feel about it. Feel free to reach out to Fadi. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.